All right, Dog fans, here we go. Welcome back to Talkin Huskies right here on Root Sports Northwest. Great to be here for Oregon Week. My name is Dave Softy Mahler. As always, joined by former Husky tight end, NFL legend Cam Cleland, producer Alex Altman pushing the buttons behind the scenes. Big thanks, of course, to our friends at the law offices of Catherine Clark, who, Cam, you know Catherine. She is pumped up, fired up, spitting blood and breathing fire for this game on Saturday versus Oregon. We've done a great job getting to 5-0 so far, but there's a whole new animal walking into Husky Stadium on Saturday, baby, at 12:30. The first matchup ever of two top 10 teams in this rivalry. How about that?
I'm going to try to stay calm for just a second because this week
No,
is
don't
here.
do it. I want you to go nuts, man. Come on, let's go.
See, there's a calm, hidden rage that starts to build. And, you know, here we are. We're going to work our way up. But as we get later in the week, which, oh, by the way, it's going to happen very quickly, this is going to start to get really personal. And that's what I love about this matchup. And I love about it from the colors to the people, to the coaches, to the fans, and all that junk that is to be coming north into Husky Stadium. I cannot wait for this Saturday at 12:30. And oh, by the way, 12:30, what a kick time, buddy. There's not enough time to talk about it.
Don't hold it in, all right?
Oh.
It's not good, Cam. You got to let it out, all right? It's okay. Just breathe, let it out. We're all here for you, pal. Number two, what do you mean starting to get personal? It's already started, and it's been personal for decades with these two teams. The hate between UW and Oregon is absolutely real. You were a part of it when you played back in the day. You know what this rivalry is all about, man.
Yeah, I feel like it's hard to describe in a sense of we're trying to do it logically on television, so I can't use everything I really want to say and down to the court. Look, I've always said I got respect for coaches and the players and everything they do to put in that effort. There's a brotherhood of football that we all stay together. But there is a deep down core hatred, and I'm going to use that word because it's okay. Hatred to looking at that team on the other side and knowing that when you beat them, that it just feels, it is so good to the inside. And that's why this matters so much. And we get to take this into the next level into Big Ten next year. But it starts this year with two top 10 teams. And there is something about the connection of college football and these two teams that will go on for decades.
Yeah, well, let's face it, you're playing for Pacific Northwest dominance right now. I mean, obviously, Wazoo may have something to say about that later on down the road. Oregon State, the Beavs, may have something to say about that in November. And that's the only thing, Cam, that could have made this game bigger is if instead of two 5-0 teams, it was two 10-0 teams playing in November like they normally do. But you know what? You mentioned the word hate. Hey, listen, Kalen DeBoer used the same word at his Monday press conference to describe the rivalry between UW and Oregon. He also talked about what this coaching staff and what these players need from the fan base come Saturday at 12:30.
I think there is another level, and I'm excited to see it this weekend. Expect that from Husky Nation and the pride we have. I think just the rivalry itself, but also just where we're at in our season and what we have going right now, and the momentum this could continue to carry us through with the rest of the season as we go through it. So we need Husky Nation in Husky Stadium, given everything they got. Our guys are going to do the same.
So we have not seen, again, in the rivalry between Washington and Oregon, a matchup of two top 10 teams. And this might be, Cam, the biggest game at Husky Stadium since that 2016 game with Stanford. Friday night, UW pounding Stanford on national TV. Ended up going all the way to the Final Four in the game with Alabama in the Peach Bowl that year. But give us a thought on what those players, what those coaches need from these fans on Saturday and why they can make such a big difference.
Well, we're talking to everyone out there in Husky Nation, all of you. Everybody that's a season ticket holder, anybody that wants to get their hands on a ticket, everybody who wants to stand outside and yell forever. We've been waiting for a game like this on Montlake, folks. We've been trying to be a part of something like this for quite some time. And even you mentioned that game in 2016. That's a Friday night. Okay, this is Saturday. This is optimal kick time. This is proper mimosa, proper Bloody Mary time. All of it. Get your breakfast, fill your stomachs, and come yelling beyond what you think your voice can handle. Because that's what this stadium deserves. 72, whatever it takes, I don't care, pack them in, get it all. I want the rabidness of Dog Pack to chew up every feather that comes walking in that building.
Yeah, by the way, I would say forget the tomato juice, forget the orange juice, just give me the bottle of vodka and let's roll for this game on Saturday, because it's going to be an absolute war. And look, man, this is a really good Oregon football team. I think all of us can say that. Don't tell the Duck fans we said that, but this is a really good, complete Oregon football team. They've got elite players at almost every position. They've got 18 sacks, after 5 games. They have the number 2 total offense in college football and the number 6 total defense. So if there is a weakness, Cam, that Ryan Grubb and Chuck Morrell and Kalen DeBoer can all attack in this game on Saturday, where is it in your opinion?
Well, I think if you're going to attack it and you're going to take it from the offensive side, you do what you do best. And Coach Grubb gets asked that all the time. He said, what's the identity? He said, I attack. And you could see it. And you go after that secondary. You did mention 18 sacks. That's an intimidating number to see coming in, but you're looking at the best offensive pass blocking line in the country when it comes to giving Michael Penix. So it's the answers that Michael Penix has with all the wide receivers, and knowing we're going to see a full, healthy wide receiver room, a riches that's going to be spread out across that. I think you attack the secondary. I think you go after it from inside and out, from flats to deeps, and no question, you let Michael Penix get started early. The conservativeness of this game to get started means you take shots. And if you take shots down the field, that means you open up everything for the run game and then let DJ get loose.
Yeah, you don't want to see this game start the way they began the Boise game, by the way, by running the football and getting something going on the ground. So I agree with that. I also think it's the kind of game where you might want to do something that you don't normally do, and that's on 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1. If number 9 sees some green turf in front of him, take off. We know number 9 can run. This might be the day to kind of spring that on the Oregon defense and give them something that nobody's expecting, which is Michael Penix on the ground. We're going to break. We're going to come back and welcome in a member of the Talkin Duck Show and get the Oregon perspective on this next on Talkin Huskies right here on Root Sports Northwest. All right, Dog fans, here we go. Welcome back to Talkin Huskies right here on Root Sports Northwest. Dave Softy Mahler, Cam Cleland. Of course, big thanks to our friends at Nordstrom Heating and Air. You can find them on the web at nordstromheating.com. But Cam, this is the portion of the show where we welcome in the face of the enemy, and it comes in the form of our buddy Aaron Fentress from Talkin Ducks right here as well on Root Sports Northwest. Aaron, how are you, pal? What's going on?
I'm great. I told Jordan Can a few weeks ago, I said, you have to get me on Talkin Huskies that week. And he's like, oh, yeah, we'll get it done.
Hey, listen, we just want to have a clean segment, all right? No yelling, no fighting, everybody getting along, holding hands, singing Kumbaya. And I'm lying. I want all the hate. I want all the smoke right now, Aaron. So let's talk about kind of what the atmosphere, what the vibe is like in the state of Oregon, getting ready for the first top 10 matchup ever between UW and Oregon on Saturday.
Ducks fans are fired up and, based on Twitter, pretty confident. I think they feel like they're ready for this matchup. But, yeah, people are fired up. They know how huge this is. I mean, the Ducks have been really, trying to get back to those glory years, the Chip Kelly, early Helfrich years when they won 4 conference titles and went to 2 national title games. They've been chasing that for almost 10 years now. And they feel like this is a team that maybe could get into the playoffs. But it starts this week. You have to be able to beat a team like Washington on the road. To this point, their schedule has been weak. There are fans out there literally trying to say, oh, the Texas Tech win, that was a big win. I'm like, come on, dude. Texas Tech is average, and you had to come from behind. It showed character to come from behind in that game, but you let Tyler Shuck throw for 330. And I like Tyler Shuck, but he's no Penix. But there is a lot of confident fans out there who feel like the Ducks have the goods to get this done up in Seattle.
Yeah, Aaron, what scares you the most about Washington? Maybe defensively, offensively. Is there a specific area that you think Oregon's going to be like, oh, gosh, what are we going to do with this?
Well, probably the most demoralizing thing is having a team just run it on you all day, right? Just pound you because they're beating you up physically, etc. But equally as scary to me is when you have a quarterback with a big arm like Penix who can make every single throw, anticipates coverages, gets rid of the ball quickly, which neutralizes the pass rush, and then you got 3 receivers who all are going to roast one-on-one coverage most of the time, and then when they get the ball in open field, it's lights out. Like that is horrifying, and we saw what Oregon, how Oregon struggled against that last year. Their defense is a little better this season. They have 18 sacks, which is how many they had all of last year. But they got a lot of those sacks against very inferior opponents. Now, Colorado, solid team, obviously, but they had a quarterback who likes to play playground football, right? He likes to run around. He did that too much with Oregon. Oregon had too many athletes and they could corral him. Penix doesn't mess around like that. He's just seeing and reacting and getting rid of the ball. And I just don't know if Oregon can get to him enough to slow them down.
Yeah, Aaron, I'm looking at some of the numbers for Oregon. And I'll admit, they're impressive, right? No question. There's a reason why both these teams are ranked in the top 10 because they're both damn good. But Oregon, number 2 in total offense, number 6 in total defense, number 8 in run offense, number 20 in run defense, number 10 in passing offense, and number 5 in passing defense. That's incredible. If there's a weakness on this football team that you're kind of concerned that maybe UW will exploit, what is it Saturday?
Well, I still feel like the pass defense hasn't truly been tested. I just don't count Colorado. Styles make fights, in boxing. We all know that. In football, sometimes it does too. And that was just a bad matchup for Colorado. I don't believe Oregon's pass defense is that good for what they did to them. And then aside from that, I mean, let's be honest, they haven't really played anyone. And Tyler Shuck put up some numbers on them. So I still wonder about the pass defense. And some people have been giving me grief up here about this, including Anthony Newman, like you don't ever give the Ducks credit. Well, I give them credit when they do things against good teams, and they really haven't played one. So I think the pass defense is still a question mark for me. And then also, I don't know if this is a weakness, but if I'm the Huskies, I still don't know about Bo Nix in a situation where it's all on him. I don't know if he's capable of carrying this team to a victory if the run game isn't there and isn't dominant, and he has to sit in that pocket and try and make plays. So I'm nitpicking because he's really good, but to me, that's the best way to try and slow down Oregon.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, I'm looking at it from quarterback perspective. We're looking at two guys that are, one guy puts up posters across the country and loves to make sure that on my ESPN feed, it's bodacious. Total, fantastic, great idea, whoever that was. And then
your guy's got a plane. So anyway, go ahead.
And then maybe another guy that looks NFL ready. If I'm going to look at a guy and say, okay, you have to win in the pocket in the NFL. We know that for certain. But in college, Bo Nix is the ultimate college quarterback. He's dual threat. And I think you hit the nail on the head with it, is that will Washington try to stop him with his extension of plays? And I look at that way. And also, too, it's his average completion rate, or where he's throwing to. It is bubble, and then it is seam. Bubble, inside run. I mean, it's a predictable offense, but that's my mindset as I look at Washington. I go, it may be predictable, but you got to find a way to stop it. And I think you're right on with Bo Nix. If you can find a way to shut him a little bit and maybe get him to move his feet around and try to continue a play, it might be Washington's advantage.
Here's the thing about Bo Nix, too. He's in his 5th year as a starter. You're not supposed to have 5 years. He got the extra year. Everyone got an extra year because of 2020, right? So this is a very experienced guy who spent time in the SEC, where, let's face it, they usually have better defenses down there than they do in the Pac-12. So he's seen almost everything, which, of course, makes him even more difficult to slow down.
Well, guess who else is in his 5th year as a starter? Number 9. Michael Penix is actually in his 35th year as a college student, to be honest with you. So he's been around for a long damn time. But I got to ask you about last year's game and how much you think Oregon is drawing from that game a year ago. Oregon fans they were whining and crying something fierce after that hit on Bo Nix by Alex Cook a year ago that I thought was the play of the game. I told you that on your show on Talkin Ducks. But how much do you think the Ducks coaches, players, and fans, the entire community, are drawing from last year's game as motivation?
Oh, man. Woo. It was a tough few days for Ducks fans after that, maybe a tough few weeks. They felt like they were in control of that game. Nix goes down, and everything crumbles from there. If any ball carrier is running and they just lower their head, the defender is going to go low. That's just what you do. And if you hit someone in their lower leg, there's nothing remotely illegal about that or dirty about that. It was just bad luck. You try and make the stop, and that's what they did. But I firmly believe that the Ducks probably win that game if Bo doesn't get hurt. If they have him in there when they're trying to run out the clock with Ty Thompson, I think they get the yardage they need to do that with Bo Nix. Clearly, the Ducks had zero confidence in Ty to do anything. That's why they ran the ball 4 straight times. But that's just my opinion. I know Husky fans don't agree with that, and we'll never really know. But yes, Duck fans mourn that for a long time. And then, they followed up a few weeks ago by blowing that 31-10 lead at Oregon State. So that's 2 games where if they win those games, they're in the conference title game, obviously, and they maybe have a chance to go to the playoffs. So, yeah, very devastating loss, no doubt about that. I know you love hearing that. I know you love hearing about the sorrow of Oregon fans, Softy. I'm glad I fed that to you. You're probably going to play this on loop tonight and just over and over while you're eating your midnight snack, right?
This is why we wanted to have you on the show and not Jordan or Joey, because you're unbiased and you can give us a true hardcore opinion on what happened a year ago. But hey, we got about 10 seconds left in the segment. Who wins on Saturday?
I picked the Huskies to win the Pac-12 title. You know, I picked them to beat USC in the title game. I love Penix. I love QBs like that. I'm an old school fan, you know, in terms of I like the big Dan Marino types who stand there and sling it. And those receivers are just amazing to watch. I actually went and watched some highlights last night and was just like, wow, I don't know what Oregon's gonna do with these cats. So I'm gonna pick Washington. It's a home game. It's kind of a pick 'em. I think neutral site, I wouldn't know what to say. I think at Washington, I just think they're gonna make enough plays to get it done. I'm gonna go with the exact same scores last year. Was it 37-34? That's my take.
I love it. Hey, great stuff, man. Thanks for doing this, and go Dogs,
Sure.
baby.
All right.
All right, Aaron Fentress with us from Talkin Ducks. We're going to break. Come back and wrap it up. More Talkin Huskies next on Root Sports Northwest. All right, Dog fans, here we go. Talkin Huskies continues right here on Root Sports Northwest. Dave Softy Mahler, Cam Cleland, producer Alex Altman, getting ready for a war, baby, on Saturday at 12:30 at Husky Stadium on national TV. But Cam, first of all, before we hear from the offensive coordinator, Ryan Grubb, and his thoughts on the Oregon defense, how about the toys that Coach Grubb is getting back for this game on Saturday? First time since the first half of the Michigan State game that Jalen McMillan and Rome Odunze will both be on the field. How about that?
I'm excited, Dave, to see if he can get all four of those guys on the field, and I believe that he can. If you can find a way to get Polk and then certainly put Jeremy Bernard maybe in the backfield as a versatile weapon, you got Rome and J-Mac. Tell me in the country, is there a more intimidating personnel to try to defend? There isn't. There isn't. And so when I see that depth and I see those guys healthy, that makes me ecstatic for this game.
Yeah, this is the number 20 run defense overall in college football, the number 6 total defense in college football, and the number 5 passing defense in college football for Oregon. Here's Ryan Grubb, UW offensive coordinator, on what he thinks he will see Saturday in the Oregon defense.
They run a lot of different things and different variations of their pressure packages and blitzes and things like that. So it spreads you out a little bit as far as what you got to think about. And so we certainly are looking at that. And they got some good, strong guys up front that certainly can pose some problems.
Big challenge for that Husky offensive line, Cam. You mentioned this in the previous segment, 18 sacks after 5 games. In comparison, the Huskies only have 5, and there's a lot of conversation, as there should be, about those receivers coming back. But Julius Bilo, the guard, who has not played either since the second half of the Michigan State game, also might be available for this game on Saturday for UW. So talk to me about, from a protection standpoint, from a scheme perspective, what does Scott Huff and Ryan Grubb have up their sleeve to control that Oregon pass rush on Saturday?
Let's start with the good, because Julius is coming off a high ankle sprain, which I know a lot, and that's going to help him. So his rotation will be back at right guard. Look, you're going to have to deal with Jordan Birch. That's their best pass rusher. He is a dude that comes off the edge. But I will tell you, this is the best group of linemen that Oregon is going to face. No disrespect to Colorado, but that looked like an open swinging gate. Those guys had no chance, and Shedeur Sanders ran around like he was playing freeze tag, and he was definitely got caught. This is not a pair of tackles that Oregon has faced. Troy Fautano, Roger Rosengarten, those two on the edges, they are locked solid. They are Sunday guys. So that is an advantage for us when we talk about protecting Michael Penix. And on the inside gap, we're locked up solid too. So I'm not going to tell you that there isn't going to be a scheme that Oregon tries to do. And of course, they're going to try to blitz. Now, will they blitz early and often? Are they going to try to bring blitzes up the A-gaps on the inside? Because if you bring it from edges, they're very good at corner blitzes and safety blitzes also. But that leaves one-on-one, and that leaves hot routes and spaces and gaps in the defense where Michael Penix is very good at finding those windows. So yeah, I expect the defense to blitz them. But I think that Oregon's going, these are the best guys we faced so far.
Yeah. Well, let's come back and talk about that defensive side of the ball for the Huskies, because there's only 2 teams in college football, Cam, averaging over 550 yards a game, and they're both playing on Saturday. A monster challenge for the UW defense. We'll get to that next right here on Talkin Huskies. All right, Dog fans, final segment for Talkin Huskies right here on Root Sports Northwest for the week. Big thanks to, again, our producer, Alex Altman, making this thing go behind the scenes. And, again, the email on your screen there, talkinhuskiesw@gmail.com. You want to be a part of this and jump on board. The bandwagon's filling up, baby, but there's always room for more sponsors, so drop us a note. Would love to have you. Cam, the defensive side of the ball for UW. Facing an absolute monster in Oregon's offense on Saturday. They're averaging over 550 a game. They got two great running backs in Bucky Irving and Jordan James. Here's UW co-DC Chuck Morrell on the challenges the Oregon offense will present on Saturday afternoon.
You look at their average per rush right now. I mean, their top two running backs are 8 yards a carry. The other kid's almost 10 yards a carry. So it really starts with that. I don't know if they take quite as many shots as they took a year ago, but, you've got some guys that can run down the field deep threat-wise for them, too.
All right, so where do you start with this Husky defense, Cam? What's important? What's at the top of the list for UW's defense on Saturday?
I think it's Bo Nix. I think it's Bo Nix, and you make him one-dimensional. I think if you're going to make a young man that is arguably one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in the country, you eliminate one side of him. I'd like to see him try to throw the ball down the field as much as possible. Yeah, their run game's going to get started, and that's how it's going to be. But Bo Nix is the reason why they go on offense, and that's what you have to stop. Arguably, on the other side, you will say Michael Penix. Michael Penix dishes it better than anybody in the country, but Bo Nix's threat with his feet, extension, and the way he runs with those reads and gets that ball on the outside, it's stop him first. Make him have to throw the football early and often, and I think this defense is going to have to set up for that, because if you get into a run game with Oregon, it's going to get scary.
Saturday at 12:30 cannot come soon enough. Great stuff, Cam. Awesome. Love it. That's another edition of Talkin Huskies in the books. Big game Saturday, and we'll talk about it win or lose next week right here on Root Sports Northwest. Go Dawg.